Hello, welcome back to this channel. I'm the Spell Singer, and this is my ongoing review of the Way of the Tiger Gamebook series. And this review is going to give you a quick look at this title and book number, a quick read of the blurb, we'll check out the plot, and then look at those game mechanics and that adventure sheet. And then we'll look through the artwork, which I'll run through this video, have a quick chat about that, and then I'll go over some of my own likes and dislikes, any fun facts that I may have found, and we'll finish on a summary and score. Yeah, so this is book 4. This is Overlord. So same two authors, which was Jamie Thompson and Mark Smith. So they're continuing this epic saga, and we've got also the same illustrator in Bob Harvey, who also does the front cover. And speaking of covers, there's 3 covers for this book. So if you live in the sunny UK, then you will get this cover. This is one we got. But if you're in the US of A, then you will get this cover, which kind of depicts the same event, just a different style. And then if you were to buy this book as a modern release, as in the most recent edition, then you will get this cover here. So all much of a sameness, but we all prefer the ones that we grew up with, right? So yeah, that's a quick look at this title and book number. So the blurb for this entry from my copy, it says here: "You are Avenger, a ninja warrior trained in the way of the tiger, an outstanding master of martial arts. So after a mighty conflict, you have overthrown the evil Usurper, self-appointed king of Irsmuncast, and now you must rule in his place and bring wise government to the strife-torn city of Irsmuncast. This will be the greatest challenge yet. The Way of the Tiger projects role-playing adventure into the future using innovative combat systems. You choose the martial arts moves with which to defeat your opponents. To triumph, you will need to use the full skills of the ninja, your craft as a statesman, and the knowledge you acquire in the course of this action." Yeah. So the plot for this book, the plot for this one is slightly different. So this is the 4th game book in the Way of the Tiger series, Overlord, and it offers you a kind of change of pace from the first 3 books, from those first 3 adventures. So the less of the journey story and more of a sort of political campaign, if you like. This one stands alone well if you haven't read the previous books, but you will appreciate this one more if you have read them and finished them. And you are still Avenger, so you're still the ninja who toppled the 3 most powerful villains in Orb, and you are now the new Overlord of Irsmuncast City. And this city is close to the Rift, so this is the Abyss, home to all evil beings. So there's a threat of invasion, and it's always present. And in this adventure, you will need to form and call your government to order. And your first action is to pick representatives for the Council of the Star Chamber. And those petitioning to be your advisors will meet you and basically offer you their case. And some of them are your allies, like the Lady Gwyneth, leader of the Shield Maidens of Dharma. You've got Parsival, the Grand Master, to the Temple of Quan, the Demagogue who unites the common folk of Irsmuncast. But you also have Golspiel, who is the merchant here. You've got Grey Staff, the High Priest, to the Temple of Avatar, and the Solstice, the High Priest, to Temple of Time. So all these people rallied together for the good cause. And the first order is to organise the factions of your government to your city. And this takes up about half the book, before you even venture into sort of a more conventional Way of the Tiger gamebook romp. So yeah, once you've picked up your 4 advisors from that team, it's time to tend to the city's problems. Play politician, if you like. And you'll be given a choice of actions that may be good or bad, depending on the source of advice given, and also having to pick the best course of action. So yeah, a different plot for this one. We've had 3 books now, or 4 if you include the prequel, and they've all been much of a sameness, all really good in their own way, but now this series takes a slightly different turn of events. Now, the game mechanics and the adventure sheet for this one, this book continues with the same kind of basic commands and combat mechanics. The ninja skills are carried over from the previous book as always, and if you're playing this as a series, everything else is more or less the same. Where this book mixes things up slightly is with the political decision making that you're going to be involved in. And a lot comes from the common sense, really. If you've got good common sense, then you're sorted. And it helps you if you have played the previous books, like I mentioned, certainly past 3 or 4 adventures, because of course you will have built up, relations with the ongoing characters. You will all know who to trust, and who not to trust, and give positions of authority to. So all these things will be really helpful if you have successfully completed those past books. However, in this book, your first order of government is to appoint 4 privy councillors to the Star Chamber. And that will form a kind of larger group, help you run the city. Your choice will affect the success of your rule and how your people will perceive you. So you also have to decide who the watch will be kept by, who will be your bodyguard, and who your armies will be comprised of. Again, all of these will have an impact later in this and further game books as well. So all these books further down the line, a lot of the outcomes will depend on decisions you make in this book. You will also have to consider your current coffers. So some will work for free, others won't, others will not be quite so willing to sort of come to your aid. Taxes and funds play a part in the mechanics as well. So there's a lot of variety. All of this will eventually give you a popularity rating, which is what you really want. That's what you want to be high, good popularity rating. And this will determine your ongoing success or cause you to be overthrown. The second half of the book returns to the kind of traditional adventure, ninja romp, and sees you on a quest for the ruling Sceptre and Orb, a couple of artifacts that are really important. And here you will again be involved in lots of combat and able to use a variety of those ninja moves. And the ninja moves, as you can see, haven't changed. You still got your 3 punches, your 3 kicks, your 3 throws. And as always, the artwork in this book will help you work out what will be effective against what opponents. And the adventure sheet hasn't changed an awful lot either. So you've still got your main boxes here. So you've still got your punch, kick and throw modifiers. You've got all your shurikens and a record of all your items, your ninja tools and your endurance. But where it really changes in my book here, so you can see here, you've got this second part. So this is the Charter of Rulership. This is where you keep a record of all your government decisions. So for example, the Privy Councillors, they're appointed to the Star, the 4 of them. The names go in here so you can remember to help you with decisions that need to be made later on. So it also records who the watch is kept by. So you can tick one of those few there. The chosen bodyguards, the army, who it's going to be composed of, and also the taxes and funds in the treasury. And then at the bottom there you have your popularity rating. So when you get to the halfway point of this book, depending on what your popularity rating is, will determine how much further you're going to go. But yeah, those are the mechanics and adventure sheets. So lots of new stuff and some of the old. Now the artwork in this book, Bob Harvey, he's the illustrator whose work has appeared in a lot of fighting fantasy publications, as we've touched on in the past. He was a particular favourite of Mark Smith and Jamie Thompson, illustrating the book of Talisman of Death, which was one of the fighting fantasy books. As well as this series. His work outside of the fighting fantasy does touch on other science fiction and extends further into a lot of other genres as well. This book has an array of wonderful artwork, lots of landscape images, lots of weird creatures, characters. There's a siege in motion as well, giant sea monster. So there's loads of variety that Bob Harvey gives us here. Lots of really nice detail, lots of attention to detail in his artwork to accompany Smith and Thompson's narrative. I've got a fave picture here. This is this ninja who comes at you with his nunchucks swirling. I absolutely love this picture. It really kind of screams at you like the danger you're in. But I'll read you the reference as well, just so you can get an idea of what Bob Harvey is trying to portray here. So it says here, the five-bladed throwing star is whirring through the air in an instant, gleaming dully in the moonlight. It thuds into the other ninja, who staggers back. He makes no sound, but plucks from his shoulder and throws it aside. Then he begins to whirl the sickle end of the Kusarigama round his head, not nunchucks, and body with frightening skill, and edges slowly towards you. He is about to launch into an attack. And then you get your options of what kind of moves you want to do it in. The forked lightning strike, the teethed tiger throw. Don't try that on anyone. Or you can do a punch. But yeah, looking at the picture, you've got to decide obviously what you want to do. Yeah, really nice picture. Some really great artwork in this book throughout the whole series. But this one for me stands out in this book. Okay, my likes and dislikes for Overlord. The only dislike I had was where the book offers a single unavoidable dice roll, which results in the difference between life and death, basically. And if you played this book before, the encounter with the horned Cyclops was ever so slightly broken. So my thoughts on that is you can't really avoid the encounter. And if you don't have escapology or the climbing ninja skills, you must take, you're basically forced to roll a couple of dice. And each roll has obviously a 60% chance of success to survive. So it's really tough, but as far as dislikes go, that's really it. Otherwise, it's all good. It's a really nice change of direction, you know, after the three ninja journeys that we've had so far through books 1 to 3. And it's something, you know, it's good to have something different every so once in a while. There is something novel about ruling a city as well, making decisions, you know, to benefit the citizens of Irsmuncast. You may also find your own personal thoughts and ideas beginning to surface about how one should rule a city, how it should be governed. So that's quite a nice technique as well. This book kind of forces you to think, how would I do this, you know? So yeah, that's a real good like. It's a really great book and it's got a lot to like. But yeah, in terms of dislikes, yeah, just that slightly unfair encounter. But otherwise, all good. Fun fact, so now it may be a tenuous link, but Jamie Thompson, he grew up in Brighton, where he met, obviously, Mark Smith at Brighton College, and he graduated from the University of Kent. Now, he graduated with a degree in politics and government. So perhaps his love of politics and governing leaped into this book, you know, into the decision of writing Overlord in this way, possibly. But anyway, Thompson was an assistant editor on the White Dwarf magazine from 81 to 84. And while working at Games Workshop, he was one of the developers of the computer game, The Tower of Despair. And then from 1984 to 1996, he was a best-selling author, publishing at least a couple of titles a year. But of course, one of his most successful series was Way of the Tiger. So this is where a lot of his fame came from. Okay, let's do a summary and score for this book. This adventure provides a real shake-up to the story so far. In the first act, you play kind of politics, like I say, within Irsmuncast, and the second act returns you to a more familiar territory as you embark on your quest to get those 2 artifacts. And rather than, you know, book after book of fighting your way over the lands of Orb, this one really offers the opportunity to give you a chance to make choices about something apart from fighting, you know, that whole political stance. So here you face like all these different assassination attempts as well later on in the book. There's a lot of unrest in the streets of your city, and the looming threat from the Legion of the Sword of Doom, led by Honoric, is ever present. It's because he's trying to seek you out to conquer your city, wants it back. Now, in essence, Overlord is it kind of transforms you from being a warrior to a leader, facing not only the physical battles, but also the complexities of ruling this kingdom. So it really changes things around a bit and is a pivotal point in this series, in this saga. And after the first half, Quan asks you to seek out the 2 artifacts. You get a visit from your god to strengthen your rule, the Sceptre and the Orb, the 2 artifacts. And these items are held by the Overlords of Irsmuncast, but now they're currently lost. So the part of the campaign is tough, with a kind of wide degree of options to pick from. Lots of enemies, really tough to beat and defeat them, and you will need a lot of guile and common sense to overcome them. The ninjas of the Way of the Scorpion are also present, sort of cunning in their hideout, which is rigged with all these lethal traps and trickery. Of course, you have to battle your way through that at the end. And so you've got all that going on. There's a lot of new scenery, as well as new cultures involved. You'll be introduced to the ninjas of the Way of the Scorpion, like I say, the elves of the Forest of Fables, also the priestesses of Nulak, and the paladins of Rocheval from Dor Lejeune's home, the island of Dragonhold. So there's a lot going on in this book. Lots of old characters and some new. The nice change of scenery and the introduction of new culture changes what could have been just like a standard ninja adventure into something that's a little bit more memorable. And there are plenty of opportunities to die here, but the extended battle with the Grand Master of Shadows was an epic fight, truly epic, with a kind of chain of choices rather than just lots of dice rolling, and it manages to balance reward with strategy against the fear of the unknown. And certainly a book of 2 halves, one part obviously using your intellect and common sense, and the other your ninja prowess, to search out those 2 lost artifacts. Now, Overlord kind of boasts characters from past books, previous decisions made influencing the path, and some new encounters and environments as well. And some of the violence is quite graphic in this book, given it's a child's book at the end of the day, arguably an older child, but no more than a teenager. But all of this is still very enjoyable. It's a really great entry in the series. This book really gears you up for the final adventure ahead, and it acts as kind of like a strong midway point in the saga. Overlord, it makes you think about the kind of big picture a little bit more. Your acceptance as ruler is based on your popularity, and if it's low, then you could be considered just another tyrant. So maybe you start thinking, well, that could be the case. Perhaps you do deserve to be replaced by another ruler. If you start making bad decisions or bad choices, perhaps what you thought was a mission initially was really a power trip, and you just convinced yourself that you would be an apt ruler. So you don't often see this kind of depth in these books, but it's certainly present in Overlord. So for that reason, I will be giving this book a high 7 out of 10. It's a really great entry in the series, and it starts you thinking on a different path, and it leads up well, because of course we've got book 5, 6 and 7 now to get through. So a lot of what you do in this book will make a difference to how things play out in those books. So really well written, very well constructed. So 7 out of 10. So I hope you liked this review. If you did, maybe give it a thumbs up, give us a comment, maybe share it if you think someone else might like it. If you really liked it, maybe consider subscribing. The next book I'm going to do is obviously book 5, which is Warbringer. And that will be what at the time I thought was the end of the series. But of course then book 6 came out and ended on a strange cliffhanger. And then more recently, book 7 to bring it all together. But book 5 next. So look after yourselves, and I'll see you in that review.